Welcome to Andy's Personal Development, the place for transactional conversations. During these conversations, we'll discover intentionality and clarity, and of course, purpose. Now, here is your host, Andy Anderson Charles. Hi, wonderful and beautiful people. Welcome. This is your host of Andy's Personal Development, Andy Charles, and we are live in the house for transactional conversations, the place for intentionality, clarity, and purpose. The episode today is entitled Skydiving Golf Sport Mindset with Peter John Mather, and he is in the house. So let me tell you a bit about our guest before we introduce him to you. He is known as the life-changing skydiver, an entrepreneur that came out of drugs and alcohol and an attempt on suicide. And his story is incredibly inspiring and speaks volumes about resilience, transformation, and the impact one person can have in the world. It's truly remarkable that despite struggling with substance abuse for over 18 years and facing such a dark period during the COVID-19 pandemic, Peter found the strength to turn his life around. And I just can't wait to hear that experience and the value and the quality he can bring to transactional conversations as a result. So without further ado, let's welcome our guest live on Transactional Conversations, Peter John Mather. Welcome, and we're glad to have you, man.
What a beautiful. Well, first of all, thank you very much for having me, and what a beautiful intro. I mean, what an absolute beautiful intro. I really respect that. Beautiful, Andy. Absolutely beautiful. Yeah. So thank you for having me, and yeah, let's talk about some interesting conversations about skydiving, golf, and, as we say, sports mindset.
Wonderful, wonderful. So we welcome you and we appreciate you and we thank you for taking the time to be with us. So I'm just gonna stay at Peter.
That's perfect.
I'm just gonna address you as Peter. So here's the thing. Let's begin with looking at what your most basic interest in life is. Skydiving, golf, sport mindset. Which one of these aspects do you think truly defines the individual and the characteristics of your life?
That's a great question, by the way. Right now, I would say it is the golf at the minute. Also connected to the skydiving. So skydiving has been a big part of my life. It would be 18 years of skydiving right now for me. I own a skydiving center, as it says in the intro there as well. I'm the founder of a company called Sky High Skydiving. You know, I've been around it for a very long time. I'm an instructor. So skydiving has a huge part to play in my identity in a way, but also now on the guiding of where I'm going, I'm now going back into the golf, because golf was a very big thing for me when I was from the age of 13 to 17. It was a really big thing for me. I played very high competitive golf, played for Lancashire, played on Nick Faldo's Junior Golf Tour, I played on Ledbetter's Junior Golf Tour. I played with some of the now known kind of high-end level golfers, or on Sky Sports, another guy that I used to play golf with, Nick Doherty. So it's kind of been a weird transition from childhood to skydiving to back to golf, you know, so golf, skydiving, and then back to skydiving. So yeah, defined in the world as a skydiver, and in the future, a professional golfer. That's what I will be defined as in the future as well.
All right. Thank you for sharing, Peter. I want to stay on the golf for a bit, because I think that there's a level of passion that I hear coming from you with regards to the sport. And based on the way you speak, I know that you have concerns about Rory, as I do. As we observe Hideki seems to be getting back a groove that he had just about 1.5 years ago. But let's stick to Rory for a little bit. What is happening with his game right now, Peter?
But I mean, personally, I think he is. Personally, I think he's probably one of the best ball strikers in the world right now. I believe his game is kind of for the past. If we look at it from the past as well, probably about 5 or 6 years. Rory has been a guy that kind of is just about teetering on the edge of being like, without fail, an amazing golfer that can just smash majors out and this, that, and the other, but he just can't get to the end of it. And my hallucination, and if Rory's listening to this, and some people may not believe in this, is his mindset is not correct. His mindset is not correct. I mean, if I look at it and I defend him, because I will, what the PGA did with, and this is not politics, by the way, this is what PGA did with Live Tour. My belief is that he took on so much in his normal standard life, his golf kind of got very kind of disconnected away from what he is, and I believe his mindset is what's stopping him.
Yeah, because about 7 years ago, I would have bet on him to finish, especially in the last 5 or 6 years. Maybe not so much, but in the last 3 years, he has come just close, but could not reach to the finish line. It just that mental tenacity that it took to take him to the final stages where he could actually win. It just was, it just wasn't there. It was missing. I'm concerned too because I hold him in high esteem with regards to the way he plays the game, his personality and stuff. So let's leave golf for a minute and let's go back to skydiving. What is the one thing that you find really thrilling about the sport of skydiving, and how can you get people to understand how that connects with you on a real basis?
I think the biggest thing is going out of your comfort zone. So the uncertainty of not knowing to a point what is going to happen on that skydive. So, like, understandably, we have some certainty that we're going to get out of the plane, but there's a lot of uncertainty in skydiving. We don't know how the skydive is going to go. We can do to our best ability, but then also when we open the parachute, we don't know what the parachute is going to do to a point. We can put all implementations in safety wise to be able to make sure that is going to give us the best opening, going to give us the best skydive. But I believe that if I shrink it down into one word, it's uncertainty. And it's one of our human needs. Like, it's just the uncertainty every time you jump out of the airplane. The biggest thing I get from it now, every time I do it, is that I get to see people's life change like that. Because there's a lot of people that are going to do it that have never done it before. And they are having an experience of something that I worked it out one day. It was less than 1% of the world's population has ever been skydiving.
Okay.
Wow. So it's a very defined difference of feelings. And when you've done, I've done 6,000, nearly 7,000 skydives now. I've got some friends that have done 30,000 skydives. And what keeps us coming back is that uncertainty. It's the whole, we don't know really what's going to happen. We can preempt it 90% of the time, but it's just that 10%, and sometimes even that 5% that keeps us coming back over and over and over again. And it's the same with golf. I'll bring golf up, right? Why do we watch golf? Why do we play golf? I presume, Andy, you play golf, and please correct me if I'm wrong.
I do.
I do. Why do we keep going back? We hit a golf shot. It's so much uncertainty. We get certainty from it. We get uncertainty. We get significance. And it's the same thing. It's whether you're jumping out of an airplane or you're playing golf, you're getting the exact same feelings. And it gives you that complete amount of dopamine that drops into your body when you jump out of an airplane. And when you hit a golf shot, and you know what it feels like, you hit a golf shot and you're like 3 or 4 foot away from the hole, like your body is like buzzing. You are like, and
yes,
it's the same thing. You can jump out of an airplane, you get the exact same feeling, and then you can get on the 18th green and you've not made a putt all day and you go sink a 25, 30 foot putt. And it's like, that's the reason why we keep coming back. It's exactly the same science, believe it or not, just in 2 different angles.
Yeah. Thank you for sharing, Peter. We really appreciate that. The thrill for me in golf is knowing that I have an opportunity to go up against the elements of nature. And I may conquer or I may not conquer. But here's the essence of all of that, Peter. It's the process of learning to be consistent,
Mhm.
just doing the same thing over and over and over until the body mechanics and the calculations and everything sort of blend and mesh. And when I hit that shot, I have a certain level of confidence that at least I'm going to get one or two outcomes. That's thrilling for me. That's thrilling. So I get it. I understand where you're coming from. So let me just look at the information here. I'm seeing something that really fascinates me. It says that you have been skydiving for 16 years. That's a pretty long time, but you
Mhm.
have achieved something significantly. You're a four-way Nathaniel Camp participant, and
Yeah.
you have been honored to represent Team Great Britain four times.
Yeah.
Tell us about this camp, Nathaniel Camp participant. What is that all about, and how can one achieve it?
So it's called four-way formation skydiving. So what happens is four people get out the aeroplane and we
Yeah.
make pretty shapes in the sky. And the easiest way of putting it is if anybody has ever seen synchronized swimming, it's very
Oh,
similar
yeah.
to synchronized swimming, but we just go in the sky and we get given a set amount of routines that we've got to do to that standard, and then we have a certain amount of time, 35 seconds. So when we leave the aircraft, we've got 35 seconds to score as many points as we can. And I was a national champion in 2023. And then I represented Great Britain, like it says, four times in different. I represented in two World Cups, one World Meet, and a World Air Games. And yeah, it's been a roller coaster of a time. It's been a beautiful journey through this. It's now 17 years of skydiving. So I've got to change that bio, by the way. So yeah, it's. And to get into it, you have to just become a skydiver and then it's work your backside off the same as anything. And I loved
Mhm.
what you brought up there, actually, because again, I'm going to relay it back to something that you're really passionate about is golf, which is consistency. So it's train, get consistent, get in a team with three other people. Then we have a cameraman. So the camera guy films the top and then that's how it gets scored. And then from there, you just got to gel with a team, be part of a team, and then just train consistent, watch your weight, watch your health, be healthy, you know. So there's a lot that goes into it. It's very, it's very, like I keep saying, I will relay back to it. It's very similar to a lot of sports in a lot of aspects. It's just a different sport because we jump out of an airplane and everybody thinks it's super dangerous.
Yeah. Yeah. Wow. Engaging. I see someone in the audience has sent us a like. I don't know if they could probably
Good.
explain what they like, but we appreciate you. We appreciate your comments. We appreciate your support. You got any questions or comments for Peter? Just put them in the chat and we'll respond accordingly. I want to look at a period of your life that many would consider a dark period. I don't look at it as a dark period. I look at it as a defining period of your life that has led you to a place of resilience where you have created over 14 different businesses,
Mm,
different genres of business, and I commend you for that. But tell
thank
us
you.
about that period of time, you're welcome, where you were struggling with alcohol and drug abuse. What was the thing that led you down that dark pathway?
So by the way, that's a great question because I get that asked a lot. But it's a great question because my response is very different every time because
Yeah.
of the fact
Yeah.
that it makes me think a little bit more. And
Mm-hmm.
to sum it up in one go is limiting beliefs of self. You know, so self
Okay.
belief of not being worthy enough, not being
Yeah.
worthy of who I truly want to be, and then being a people pleaser and having massive self esteem problems. And I could
Mm.
go down every hole you want to go down and say it was because I didn't have the most amazing childhood, wasn't there for me, and my mum and dad split up when I was 2, and all that type of stuff, which is cool and it tells a great story, but that's not the truth. It's because I had massive limiting beliefs, and I always had a drive to be something better, but I just didn't know how to do it without covering it up with drugs and alcohol. And the biggest thing is that it was meeting my needs at that time, where it was I, by the way, in that period, I created, with help from other people, 14 individual businesses, one of them
Mm-hmm.
being a charity, one of them being
Yeah.
now a charity for, in fact, that was 13 businesses and that came after, sorry. So it was 13 businesses, and I was a functioning alcoholic and I was a functioning drug addict. And
Mm-hmm.
I worked, it's very funny actually, Andy, but in a way, I worked out that I've probably had my body weight in cocaine over the 18 years, 19 years of being alive. It was because somebody asked me the same question again. And the resilience is this. The resilience is the fact that now I knew there was a bigger purpose. And what led me to that path was not knowing who I was and not
Mm-hmm.
believing who I was, and being that human being that was actually in a position where I didn't really see a different angle of what I was seeing at that point. And I worked in the bars and I ended up in this whole kind of, I wanted to be the center of attention for the wrong reasons. You know, I want to be when I was younger, I wanted to be significant because at that time I was, you know, not knowing what life was all about. And I didn't know a lot about life at that point. And I went down that route, and then it got hold of me, and it fed a need. And then from there, I did my utmost many a times to come off drugs and alcohol. I mean, I at 21, I had a heart attack of cocaine overdose. They brought me back to life. I actually went to some people would say, the other side, and they brought me back to
Mm-hmm.
life at 21. You know, and you would think that would stop me from doing it ever again. No, it didn't. I did it for another 15 years after that. You
Yeah.
know, so. And then there was a moment in time, and there is always a moment in time, where I said, there's got to be something better than this. There's got to be something really much better than this. And that was the defining moment where I decided that, whatever you believe in, God in the universe, whatever it is, your creator, whatever you believe in, I believed at that point that if I was not made for something more than what I was doing at this moment in present, then why am I still alive? Like,
Yeah.
there's got to be
Yeah.
more to life than what I was doing, than
Yeah.
running businesses, being the center of attention, spending thousands of pounds and dollars on alcohol and drugs, and being this whole kind of like party animal that everybody kind of, I believed, loved at that time, and that was my model of the world. And then I realized that actually that was not a great model of the world. And I'm now 40-year-old, and I got married very shortly after my 40th, and I never actually thought that I was ever going to reach 40. That was the truth. I always said I would be dead before 40. And now I'm like, now I've got a new purpose. Now I've been sober and clean for 4 years.
Mm-hmm.
I've got a beautiful wife. I've got an absolute amazing life. I have a great purpose. I get to speak to amazing human beings like you,
Yeah.
and it's all about understanding that we are here for more than what we believe at that time. And it's all a belief.
Wow. So I'm listening to you very carefully, and I'm seeing in my mind's eye the critical points of your life that cause you to go down that virtual rabbit hole. I'm not using that term loosely. It's just an analogical term that sort of describes your experience. And from a professional perspective, two things happened to you. One, you became a victim of the imposter syndrome on the negative aspect. And secondly, you did not find the time to truly define your personal values,
Mm-hmm.
the things that really describe you as the unique, original, and glorious individual that was created for a purpose, until you came to the point to recognize, wait a minute, there's got to be something more to what I'm doing. And you look at the fact that you were still alive after all that you've been through. It meant, therefore, that there was a purpose awaiting you and you had to discover that purpose. And now,
Mhm.
after looking back, you can see the difference between what you were, who you have become, and are still becoming. And upon this basis is now what you are willing to share with the world. How's that for an assessment?
Oh, I mean, that's pretty bang on, really. I mean, I'm impressed. You're good at you know, you're very good. I appreciate how you worded it. I mean, that's a beautiful way of saying it, you know. And thank you very much for your beautiful, kind words, you know. Um,
Yeah.
and I want to say this, you know, you started at the beginning saying that it was maybe a tragedy, which you believed it was not, you know, or a
Yeah.
dark time in my life. Actually, it was a very light time in my life. It was a
Hmm.
beautiful gift. It was a beautiful light time. There was many moments in that whole 18, 19 years of going through the drugs and the alcohol that had some very light moments in it. It had some very super light moments and memories that'll stay with me forever, you know. And then memories are you know, the most beautiful gifts that I ever got given in life, because now I get to speak about it with you and I get to open the kind of, like, let's call it the can of worms or the can of whoop-ass or whatever you want to call it, right? On the world and talk about this big ass problem that we have, which is called drugs and alcohol and depression and anxiety and all this type of different stuff that people like to put labels on, you know. And I now get to beautifully talk about it very openly with everybody. And I'm not fearful of talking about it. And I'm not fearful of saying I was, you know, there was times, you know, I did, you know, as you read up, I did attempt suicide twice at the end. And that was kind of the straw, you know. I was given a gift from, you know, you can say God in the universe or whatever. And I believe that life is happening for us, not to us. And it truly is. Life is truly happening for us. Everything that happens in this world right now is happening for me. It doesn't really matter if it's, some people believe it's good or bad or whatever it is. It's all happening. And I know that because I'm living proof of that. You know, I shouldn't be here. That is the truth. I mean, when I attempted suicide, do you mind if I talk about this bit now?
You go ahead. Just let it flow.
Okay, so when I attempted suicide, the last time I attempted suicide, the way I did it, I was driving the car at a cliff, and I was probably about 150 yards away from the cliff edge in Portugal. And as I was going to the cliff edge at about 25, 30 mile an hour, the phone rung on my car, and I had the green and red button where it says either accept or decline. And it was my business partner. And I had a choice at that point in my life whether to press the red button and kill myself or press the green button and see what happens.
Yeah.
And I picked the green button and I pushed the green button. And there was no reason for him to ring me. Yeah, I hadn't spoke to him for like over a month. And the first things he said to me was, how are you doing, big man? And that's what he says to me all the time I speak to him. He says, what are you doing, big man? And at that point, I slammed the brakes on and I just started to cry. And there was no reason for him to ring me. There was no reason at all for him to ring me. There was no moment. And I asked him very much after that as well. You know, we did an interview for BBC about a year after. It was a year after this all happened. And I asked him, you know, what made him ring? And he just said, don't know. It came to me and I just wanted to ring you and I just wanted to see how you are. And at that moment then, you know, there was a moment then that just said to me, wow, like you cannot explain that. You cannot explain why somebody would just randomly ring you out the blue while you're like 150 to 200 yards away from a cliff edge in your car, not wanting to live. And now I look at everything as it doesn't matter what happens to me in a day to day basis. Everything is happening to me for a reason. It's all happening for me to see how I deal with it. It's happening for me, and everything is blessed. We're absolutely blessed human beings to be on this planet. Like, what a blessing to actually wake up, you know.
It is. It is. We are so divinely created, Peter. that sometimes we miss our calling, we miss our purpose, we miss our destiny in life because we get clouded and shrouded with all the mess that is happening in the world, the mess that we created, not anyone else. We created the mess for ourselves. And I have to commend you for just being vulnerable and open, and I could feel the passion and the emotion. So that tells me this is deep and resonating and real for you. And that is what people need to hear to connect with every single day. Just to know that there's another person like me in the world. And I was thinking about that this morning. I'm thinking, hey, we have just over 7.8 billion people on the planet. Why does anyone ever think that they alone are going through what they're going through? Think about it. It's an impossibility. Somebody
Right.
else is always going through what you're going through, and even worse. But then at
Mhm.
the moment, you may not have that sense of awareness, that sense of knowledge. But that call that came from your business partner was a divine intervention to give you a message and to literally save your butt. So you you are grateful now, and that's wonderful. Here's the thing:
100.
how do you, Peter, find the time to manage all these 13 businesses and the one nonprofit? How do you separate yourself if you do, or manage? How do you do it?
It's a great question again, and the easy way is to say is I have a lot of great people around me. I have a lot
Yeah,
of great people around me, and I
yeah.
also my businesses are very seasonal. So six of my businesses are actually in fireworks, and they are very seasonal in the UK. So on that side of the business, I potentially probably do what I do about 9 weeks worth of work. That's about it for that business, realistically. In fact, before I came on this call with you, and again, thank you very much for having me. I really appreciate it.
You're
I
welcome.
was
You're
actually
welcome.
just doing some work for China to get ready for buying more fireworks this year. So yeah, and then I just have multiple people that are around me. I'm a business owner, not a business operator. I don't tend to do a major amount of the stuff. I do the financial stuff and I do the background stuff. I do a lot of now. I do mindset coaching and I do mentoring for people that are looking to change their life as well. So that is one business that I have. We do breath work, we do cold plunges, we do all that type of stuff now. Me and the wife, and we're just building another business around that right now as well. That's going to be that's the next level. That's we're going. I can't really say much about that right now, but it's another level. So I just have a lot of people around me, and the truth of the matter is, 4 years ago, before I stopped all the drugs and alcohol, one of the reasons why I was doing the drugs and alcohol is because I wasn't letting other people do the work. And I listened to a great book recently, and if people want to get this book, if they're in the same situation where they may own businesses or they may be doing whatever, and even if they got family or whatever, right, is if you start to do everything yourself and you don't let anybody else into your world and it's all about the way you do it, then you create this bubble around you where you become an operator of your life and not an owner of your life. And I am an owner of my life. I own my life. I don't operate my life. I own
Yeah.
it. And I get people in that are better at me at certain jobs and I get them to do it and I pay them. And then I also say to myself this, is if somebody does a 50% good job or a 50% job for me, then that is 100% win. That is 100% win because that's giving me 50% of my time back at that point. So that's 100% of a win to me. And then if
Yeah.
I also if they do a 75% great job, then I'm winning even more. But again, it's 100% because I'm getting
Hmm.
75% of my time back at that point. And the way I actually changed it all is I just said, enough's enough. What do I want to do? What is it that I'm good at? What is it that I'm really corely good at? And what I'm corely good at is I'm good at selling. I'm good at making
Hmm.
decisions on pricing. I'm good at
Yeah.
making I'm good. I'm a visionary. There's no doubt about it. I'm an artist when it comes to developing businesses. Someone said to me once, and it was really funny. They said, "Peter, you're the person that knocks down the walls, and you get other people to pick the bricks back up."
I love that.
It's very true, you
Yeah,
know.
yeah.
And we can come on another. I'd love to come back on and tell the story about how I actually bought the drop zone and the resilience of buying the drop zone and the skydiving center, and because that's a
Hmm.
whole another episode of
Okay.
resilience and drive, 100%. You
Okay,
know,
we can look at that definitely.
you know and that's the truth. Become an owner of your life, guys, and girls, humans out there, and start looking at how you're dealing with your own life and what you truly want. and
Yeah.
and the beautiful thing about it is when you start owning yourself and owning what you are and who you truly are. And I loved how you put it before, about divine timing and divine message and everything else. Yes, it was a big kick up my butt, and it was all about owning my own life and the internal work that I have done. The internal work is the most amazing thing that I've ever done. And that's one of the reasons why now I am a coach. I'm a mindset coach. I'm a mentor. I'm a business mentor as well. All types of different stuff with the beautiful gifts that have been given in the past is just unreal because of the fact that I started to own. And I know I keep saying it like that, and I want to drill it into people, is I started to own my own life.
Yeah. Wonderful. Thank you for sharing, Peter. I'm gonna put some stuff up on the board there,
Beautiful.
and you can tell people which one you think they should really try to make contact with you through for your core competencies and for your professional stuff that you do.
Instagram or Facebook. I mean, if you're a younger listener, then it's Instagram, because I know the younger listeners are all about Instagram. And then if you're slightly mature, but still young human being, then Facebook. Either one, they're both interlinked together. And yeah, I will have a website very much in the future being built and everything else. I'd love
Yeah.
just to, if people want to follow me and watch the videos, and if they want to contact me, they can contact me and ask me anything to do with anything they want. I just love to give to the world. I love to give to people the same as you. I can really see the passion in your eyes and your soul, that you are doing this just purely because you love human beings and you love humanity. I
Thank
really
you.
love it.
Thank you. Appreciate that. Appreciate that. We have that symbiotic connection. Thank you. Uh, I'm thinking about a movie when I think about your life. But here's the thing, Peter. Would you have you considered doing a memoir or something that would have a documentary interest about all this intriguing aspect of your life, especially the resilience and the ability to create business and be visionary?
So yes, I have, and in 2023,
Mm-hmm.
actually, BBC UK did a documentary on me, a 29-minute documentary on me, and what I will do is I will send it to you if
Yeah.
you have not got it already. I
Mm-hmm.
will send it you, and you can actually post it on your social media if you would like.
Yeah.
I can't, unfortunately, I can give you that information, and that's for you to do what you want to do with.
Okay.
And yes, I have thought about writing a book in the future, and I have thought about having a bio and potentially, like you say, a movie. I mean, that would be kind of awesome. Yeah, but it's not all about that for me. It's all about understanding that people just. If I touch one person, just one person right now that is
Mm.
doing
Yeah.
this, then
Yeah.
that's all it matters to me. Just that one individual person, because if I can touch one person every day, then I've touched 365 in a year, and then that is
Mhm.
just a snowball effect, and it just kind of
Yeah.
goes and goes. And I will one day write a book. That I have said that to myself, but I unfortunately will wait for my mum and dad to potentially pass away, because there will be some
Mhm.
things in there that I won't want my mum and dad to know, because it will definitely
Okay.
hurt them.
Okay. Okay. I hear you. I hear you. So,
Yeah.
folks, we have been listening to Peter John Mather, and he's been speaking about skydiving, golf, the sport mindset, his life in part, his business skills, his visionary acumen. And it has been a pleasure and a wonderful story of great value, I think, that he has shared with us. And we are blessed to have him here. So we are coming to the end of this program, but I want to give Peter the opportunity to just say some parting words for the audience, something that you think they really need to hear as they continue to remember all the goodies that you have shared thus far on transactional conversations. Peter?
Well, again, a beautiful thing. Thank you, Andy, so much for having me on your podcast. It's been an absolute pleasure. What a beautiful soul human being you are. You truly are. You're an absolute angel and a beautiful
Thank you.
gift to this planet.
Thank you.
You really are. And the one thing I would say to everybody out there is you're not alone. On the times that you feel alone, you never are alone. It doesn't matter if you're stood in a woods or you sat on a chair on your own. You're never alone. Your soul is always there connected to the outside world. And everything that we do in this world is happening for us for a reason. It's all directing us to the right path of where we want to be. And in them times of moments where you don't believe it and you say, yeah, whatever, or you're not particularly happy having a great day, just ask yourself these three questions that I ask myself every day is what are the three things that I'm grateful for at that moment in life? The three things that I'm most grateful for at that moment. Don't think about the past. Don't think about the future. Just think about the present. And then the whole world and everything else around you will start to just brighten up. It will all start to brighten.
Okay. Wonderful. Thank you so much, Peter. We appreciate you and the value that you have brought to this program. Folks, just remember, we are transactional conversations, and you have heard the different aspects of intentionality, clarity, and purpose, the three virtual points of life that you need to have so that you can make better informed decisions about your future and define why you are here. That's our basic purpose. And our main audience are entrepreneurs and leaders, people that have effect on the lives of others. So take this to heart and let's continue to be good souls, just simple human beings, all trying to get along with each other. So until next time, this is Andy of Andy's Personal Development on Transactional Conversations, together with my guest Peter John Martha, saying Godspeed, God bless, Shalom, Namaste. Bye for now, guys.